You're watching WYLN TV 35. Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Julia Wiegand. Authorities are calling the cause of an early morning explosion in the Clares section of Klein Township an attempted homicide. WYLN's Julie Stefanovich has more.
Neighbors were awoken by a deafening bang this morning in Klein Township. Emergency crews were called to the area of Center and 4th Streets in Clares for a report of an explosion. It is believed to have taken place on the sidewalk outside of a residence in the area.
It was just after 5:20 this morning. An explosion occurred back here behind me, and the male was injured, taken to the hospital, so now we have all the resources here to figure out what happened. We see the aftermath, and now we're going to put it all together.
Officials say the residence, a church across the street, and a nearby vehicle were all damaged from the blast that left glass and debris scattered about the area. 4th Street between Market, James, and Center Streets were closed for the latter part of the day as authorities combed through the scene to find out the exact cause of the explosion.
It's going to be a long time because they're going to try to, there's a lot of evidence down there. When things blow up, it makes little tiny pieces, so it's going to be a long time till they gather everything they need.
A bomb technician team was called to the scene from Harrisburg earlier today, and state police say that there was no immediate threat to the public. There is no word at this time on the identity or the condition of the victim, and anyone with information on this incident is asked to call PSP Frackville at 570-874-5300. Reporting for WYLN News, I'm Julie Stefanovich.
Thank you, Julie. A Hazleton man was taken into custody after leading police on a chase Monday morning. State police saw an SUV pull out of a parking lot on West Broad Street. Troopers observed the vehicle driving erratically and attempted to pull the car over on North 3rd Street. The driver, identified as 19-year-old Devi Noel Toribio, took off at a high rate of speed. The chase ended near Grant and West 2nd Streets in West Hazleton. Troopers smelled alcohol in Toribio's breath, and he admitted that he'd been drinking. He was charged with DUI, fleeing or attempting to elude police, and numerous traffic-related offenses. His bail was set at $5,000. A new criminal case was filed against a Schuylkill County man accused of stealing a car and setting a house on fire back in November. 58-year-old David Carls of Frackville allegedly stole his ex-girlfriend's Jeep Cherokee from her workplace in the Humboldt Industrial Park back on November 16th, then set fire to a home in Beach Mountain before fleeing the area. He was taken into custody by authorities on November 29th. He was originally charged with robbery, reckless endangerment, and aggravated assault in regards to the vehicle theft. Troopers filed a new case against him on December 10th to add arson and reckless burning. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for January 7th. Luzerne County investigators are looking for information into a Sugarloaf Township cold case. Human remains were found back on December 20th of 1994 in a wooded area in the township. Police estimated that the remains were at the location for at least 2 years before they were discovered. The victim was believed to be a white female between the ages of 34 and 47 years old. Investigators say the woman may have been from Texas, Florida, or another southern state. If anyone has information on the cold case, they're being asked to contact Pennsylvania Crime Stoppers. A Wilkes-Barre Township man's facing charges after allegedly strangling a woman during a Monday morning argument. The victim told police that 39-year-old Christopher Fink struck her and attempted to strangle her in the early hours of Monday morning. She broke free from him and contacted her sister, who sent police to the residence just after 1 Monday morning. Fink was charged with strangulation, simple assault, and aggravated assault. He was arraigned and denied bail after being considered a threat to the victim. He's currently being lodged at the Luzerne County Prison. A Mahanoy City caregiver was charged with theft after admitting to stealing over $2 grand from an elderly woman under their care. An investigation by Mahanoy City Police and the Schuylkill County Office of Senior Services found that 28-year-old Eric Celine Roberts was writing checks and using the credit card of an 87-year-old woman she was the caretaker of without her permission. Bank records and ATM withdrawal photos showed that Roberts used the victim's credit card and wrote checks for cash on 30 different occasions through unauthorized transactions between August 16th and October 31st of this year, totaling $2,285. Roberts was charged with 17 counts of forgery, accessing a device issued to another and did not have authorized use, theft by unlawful taking, and receiving stolen property. In just 3 weeks, the State House of Representatives will begin its investigation into Schuylkill County Commissioner George Halkovich, Jr. The Judiciary Committee's Subcommittee on Courts will meet the morning of Tuesday, January 11th, to launch its investigation of the sexual harassment and misconduct allegations against Halkovich in order to determine if he's liable for impeachment. Impeachment requires a majority vote, or 102 of the 203 representatives. If the House votes to impeach, the state Senate will conduct the trial. A 2/3 vote, or 34 of 50 members, is required in the Senate for conviction and removal from office. Halkovich has denied all allegations. PennDOT wants Pennsylvanians to stay safe while traveling during the holidays and in severe winter weather conditions. WYLN's Mackenzie Yocker has the details on how.
It's the holiday season, which means we will see an increase in travel as people are getting together with their families. While many people are on the road, it is important to keep you and others safe while driving, especially when it comes to attending holiday parties.
We just want to ask people to drive safely, but we're in part of our impaired driving campaign, which runs through January, and local and state police will be out monitoring the roads for DUI and impaired driving. And also, there's zero tolerance. And so we want you to make sure if you're going to a New Year's Eve party, a Christmas party, to make sure you do not drink and drive, and just to be safe out there and have a designated driver if you're going to drink and drive at a Christmas party or New Year's Eve party.
We are in the winter months, which means snow and ice storms become more prevalent. Snow can become very dangerous, leading major highways and roads to close down. Before you head out, you can check out the 511 PA app on your mobile device to see what the road conditions are like.
But if you have to go out, you could check 511 PA, and that will tell you where there's any road conditions, any construction. Construction usually is limited during the holiday season, so it would only be like if there was an emergency or they had to do emergency bridge repair or a pothole or something out there. They would be out there. But just take your time, and you could check 511 if there's any crashes, and just be careful and take your time.
There are other features available on the app when traveling in winter weather, such as locating plow trucks or viewing the cameras of the roads on the 511 website.
511 PA is an app where people can go and check the conditions of the road. If it's bad weather, they can check where the plows are. They could see if there's any construction work. There's even could look at the cameras on the interstates on the website.
To make sure you stay safe on the roads this winter, download the 511 PA app on your phone. Head to 511pa.com or call 511. Reporting for WYLN News, I'm Mackenzie Yocker.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Coming up on WYLN News, Weiss Pharmacy reopens in West Hazelton, plus more on Biden's winter COVID plan. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ezra. I'm 5 years old. It's kind of partly cloudy and it's kind of cold.
We want your child to be our WYLN Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on WYLN News and WYLN social media posts, just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather section of WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the WYLN News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today.
Membership opportunities are now available at the Valley Country Club, 79 Country Club Lane in Sugarloaf. Clubhouse upgrades are in progress and will be ready for the spring. Call Frank Radis for details at 570-233-5328.
Something is out there. What it is, no one knows. However, since its first sighting, there have been numerous reports of strange lights in the night sky. Some say they are extraterrestrials, flying saucers. But to all of those seemingly unrelated uncertainties, there is one common thread.
Solo Spaceman on WYLN TV 35. Thursdays at 1:30, Saturdays at 4, Sundays at 9. Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969. When you see news happening in your neighborhood, call WYLN News at 570-459-1869 or email us at news@WYLNTV.com or send us a message on social media through Facebook. WYLN, we're your local network.
Weiss Markets is reopening its West Hazelton pharmacy in its parking lot while the store undergoes repairs from a fire earlier this month. The pharmacy will be located in a modular unit in its store parking lot at 100 Weiss Lane. Its hours of operation will be weekdays from 8 to 8, Saturdays from 9 to 6, and Sundays from 10 until 2. The pharmacy can also be reached by calling 570-455-6620. President Joe Biden announced major changes in his COVID-19 winter plan as the Omicron variant makes its rounds. A cornerstone in Biden's plan includes the government to purchase 500 million free rapid tests for Americans that'll be shipped starting in January. The federal government would also establish new testing sites and use the Defense Production Act to manufacture more tests. Biden also said he's prepared to deploy an additional 1,000 troops with medical skills and direct federal medical personnel to hospitals under strain, as well as additional ventilators and equipment from the national stockpile. The government would stand up multiple vaccination sites as well and provide hundreds of personnel to administer both initial and booster shots. 40 million eligible American adults remain unvaccinated. Coming up on Ashley's News Choice, we talk Christmas and New Year's Eve safety on this Trooper Talk Tuesday. Plus, Leading the Way, Part 2. Stay with us. But first, season's greetings from Mayor Jeff Cassat.
I'm Mayor Jeff Cassat, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
Have you ever experienced that super pushy salesperson who follows you all around? Not here.
Or wandered around that big box store looking for help in the appliance department, only to find the pink guy? Not here.
And we have an experienced, courteous sales staff here to help you find the perfect mattress, piece of furniture, or appliance with no pressure.
And don't forget, everyday low prices.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
Hey guys, tune in this week to Let's Talk Chiropractic. Brittany and Dr. Alex, she has had multiple problems. She fell 15 years ago and fractured her hip, slept on her stomach for 34 years, and everything's getting better. Tune in and let's see what her life is like.
No matter how busy life gets, your health needs to come first. That's why the relationship you build with your Lehigh Valley Health Network primary care doctor is one of the most important you'll ever have. From identifying your personal health risk factors to coordinating care with specialists, LVHN is here to partner with you every step of the way. And with the choice of virtual or in-person visits, it's never been easier to put your health at the top of your to-do list. Take the first step by visiting lvhn.org or by calling 888-402-LVHN.
Follow us on our weekly journeys through the backstories of those paving NEPA toward a better future.
Each night we'll dig a little deeper into the lives and goals of our local leaders. So stay tuned for the end of our news as we learn more of those leading the way.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, E. Julius Kuiper, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN.
When you see news happening in your neighborhood, call WYLN News at 570-459-1869 or email us at news@WYLNTV.com or send us a message on social media through Facebook. WYLN, we're your local network.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Trooper Talk Tuesday here on WYLN. We are joined, as always, by State Trooper Anthony Petrosky. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Folks, it's the holidays. It is Christmas and New Year's coming around the corner. There's other holidays going on as well, and don't mean to, but we're talking mainly about Christmas and New Year's right now. There's a lot of celebration. A lot of people are going to be throwing parties. A lot of things are going to be going on, especially around Christmas time, but more importantly around New Year's time,
yes,
which is typically a time where we celebrate the new year, and there's champagne, there are drinks, and that's something that we want to talk about because on top of just drunk driving, there's also the fact that there's snow and ice out on there, so the roads are 10 times more dangerous right now, and so we want to talk about just preparing ahead, making sure that everything is set to go, and what you should do. So let's mesh them together. They're both kind of, people are out together all the time, and what should people be aware of, I guess, just in general?
Well, you said it. There's a lot of factors, right? You have the weather, and then you have people going out celebrating. Maybe people are in from out of town. Old friends are getting together. They're going out, and you should have a good time, but be responsible. It's too easy now to avoid getting a DUI, to avoid changing your life, because ultimately you can change your life or somebody else's in a very negative manner. It's not worth it. Plan ahead. If you're going out with a group of friends, take turns being the designated driver. It's too easy. It's safe. There's also these ride-sharing services, whichever one you want to use. Everybody throwing a couple of bucks, you pay for the ride, you get there safe, you get home safe. That's what it's all about. As an adult, we have a responsibility. If you get behind the car and you're either under the influence of alcohol or a controlled substance, you're not only putting your life at risk or everybody in that car, you're putting everybody else's life at risk that's on the road there. Maybe it's a family coming home from their family's house and you're putting their life at risk. It's not worth it. You can really damage your life, somebody else's. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and it could change things forever, negatively. Plan ahead, have a good time, but be safe about it.
Yeah, and I guess kind of going with that, when you're around a lot of people, there's also, and when alcohol is involved, there's also the chance that people are going to get into arguments. I know a lot of families are going to get into, political debates and stuff like that we have. I mean, that happens around Thanksgiving.
Sure it does, yeah.
But it happens around the Christmas holiday as well. And I guess what's the best advice for people to just avoid any kind of confrontation? Because that, we run into that a lot around the holidays as well.
Yeah. Usually when we show up to a holiday gathering, it's not going well. So you don't want to see us at your holiday get-togethers. Just remember, take a deep breath, exclude yourself from the conversation for a little bit, pull it together and come back in. It's not worth getting in an argument, whether it be verbal or physical. Now we're getting called. Now people might be going with us instead of back home or with their family. It's not worth it. If you have to leave the situation rather than getting into one of these altercations, then leave the situation as long as you are physically okay to do so. If not, again, plan ahead and use one of these ride-sharing services.
And fun fact, folks, the troopers are out there, even though it is the holidays, they're
we
still
work
out there.
all the time. We never shut down. New Year's, Christmas, we will be working.
And that's the thing. You guys, everybody's got to be aware that, there's just the risk that you're causing. I mean, and on top of that, if you are caught, I mean, what do they face?
Yeah, a lot of money. Typical DUIs anywhere between $8,000 and $10,000. That's just your legal expenses, your fines, towing. It adds up.
Yeah.
Now you might need an attorney. You may lose your job over it, depending on what your job is. It's just totally avoidable. It really is. Now with the ride-sharing services, planning ahead, being a responsible adult, and planning ahead, having a designated driver. It's too easy. You heard it here. It's not worth it. Plan ahead.
And that's the thing, folks. Plan ahead and be safe. It's the holidays. You don't want that tragedy, one, on you or on anyone else. And if we just plan ahead, we just play it safe and not do this. Enjoy yourselves, but be safe about it. And I know it can be a bummer to say, like, you know, oh, you got to be that person. And it's like, but that's next year somebody else will be.
It's being responsible.
Exactly.
We have a responsibility as a driver in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and that's what it's all about.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for talking with us.
My pleasure. And to everybody out there, happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you, folks, for joining us here on Trooper Talk Tuesday on WYLN.
No matter how busy life gets, your health needs to come first. That's why the relationship you build with your Lehigh Valley Health Network primary care doctor is one of the most important you'll ever have. From identifying your personal health risk factors to coordinating care with specialists, LVHN is here to partner with you every step of the way. And with the choice of virtual or in-person visits, it's never been easier to put your health at the top of your to-do list. Take the first step by visiting lvhn.org or by calling 888-402-LVHN.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
Have you ever experienced that super pushy salesperson who follows you all around? Not here.
Or wandered around that big box store looking for help in the appliance department, only to find the pink guy? Not here.
And we have an experienced courteous sales staff here to help you find the perfect mattress, piece of furniture, or appliance with no pressure.
And don't forget, everyday low prices.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
What's on TV? Plenty. WYLN TV 35, the best in local programming.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969. WYLN CA35's children's programming is designed with the specific purpose of serving the educational and informational needs of children. In compliance with FCC guidelines, a copy of the Children's Programming Report is on file for public inspection at WYLN 1057 East 10th Street in Hazleton, Pennsylvania during normal business hours. To view the report online, visit fcc.org.
WYLN's going behind the scenes to learn more about the lives and goals of our local leaders. So, Dr. Kira Weaver is leading the way into part 2 of this week's series.
And welcome back to this week's Leading the Way with Dr. Kira Weaver. Dr. Weaver, you had mentioned in our prior segment when you became a paramedic, it inspired you to be where you are today. So can you tell us a little bit about that and what you did in that job?
Sure. So being a paramedic was a really crucial part in my career development. It enabled me to have more responsibility as an emergency medicine provider. I was in my early 20s, so it was like it was a leadership role. You worked in a team with some other providers. Like you always had a partner you worked on the ambulance with, but you would work with like other EMS providers, firefighters, law enforcement. And then you had the responsibility to talk to other healthcare providers, whether you pick a patient up at a doctor's office to take to the hospital, sometimes even picking a patient up at home. You'd be finding from family, friends, neighbors, trying to get information quickly on patients, establishing rapport with patients quickly, and then the job duties itself of emergency stabilization and determining where that patient needs to go for their care. Can they, do they need to go to the local hospital? Do they need a specialty resource center? If we're in a situation, do I need to call for a helicopter? So there's a lot of different decision-making processes involved with being a paramedic, not necessarily all just related to patient care directly in the terms of medical treatment. But it helped make me think about the fact that as a leader, how to develop and, where I wanted to go next. I liked being a paramedic, but I definitely think that it made me start thinking about what my original plan was, and that it also built some confidence because I was able to handle these situations either as part of a team or on my own to go pursue a career in medicine.
So what were some of the steps you took to achieve the goals that you were looking at to focus on?
I was working as a paramedic. I did have to study and take the medical entrance exam. So, preparing for that is only part of it. There's a lot of other preparation. So one of the trickier things is, if you don't go straight through, is finding people from college that were mentors that you want to get recommendations, because you need to do that. You needed to research, where you want to go to medical school and what do they need, like in letters of recommendation and scores, and making sure that you met all the prerequisites for the program. If you got an interview somewhere, arranging for travel to get there. There's a lot of planning involved in this, and it actually involved a bit of travel. So, kind of determining those things were the first step in getting into medical school. When I was accepted at Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, then I had to realize I was going to leave the area for 2 years to train, but that I'd be able to come back to Northeast PA to do my clinical rotations as a med student, that would be a possibility. So, and that did happen, which was good. And then the next step is you're preparing, you have to take 3 steps of boards while you're a medical student. So you have like these large tests that take like 8 hours of your day, so kind of like that's like training for a marathon with studying and staying focused. And then, then you have to think about, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go to residency? What do I want to specialize in? What's going to be my area of focus? And so it's always like you get done with one task and then you realize you have another task to complete, because you go into a residency and then you have to work on your board specialty. So you have to work on like training for those boards, meeting those requirements, that skill set. So it's been a long road, probably about 15 years, honestly.
Yeah, it does sound like a long road to get to, to where you are today. Check back tomorrow night as Dr. Weaver continues leading the way into part 3 of this week's segment. Good night.
And that's the news. Remember, the source matters now more than ever. Catch all the latest on our Facebook page, YouTube page, or at WYLNTV.com. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next, right here on WYLN TV.